Hey guys, this is Issues with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much, guys. OJ Simpson, 76 years old, died while battling cancer. Didn't even know the guy had cancer, to be honest with you. But I'll tell you what I do know about OJ Simpson. I remember that probably was the first reality TV show that we ever saw. For 252 days, we were glued to our TV sets, and we wanted to know what happened. What happened with Ron Goldman and OJ's former wife, Nicole Brown. So she was about 30 years old. I think Ron was 29. He had worked at a restaurant, was supposedly going to the house to drop off glasses to Nicole's mom, eyeglasses to Nicole's mom that were accidentally left at the restaurant. And during that time, it is believed that actually O.J. Simpson came and was upset about what he saw, and he ended those lives. Now, this was in 1994 that this took place, in June of 1994 that this took place. We saw our very first high-speed, very low-speed Bronco chase, when OJ was supposed to go and turn himself in for the MURDERS of the two, of Ron and Nicole, but instead he didn't. They did this full-on chase, going 30 miles an hour, that is, where he was in a white Bronco of his friends. He wasn't driving, he was supposedly on the floor, and more or less confessing to what happened. Yet after 252 days of trial, because I guess gloves didn't fit, we must acquit. That's what the slogan was. If the gloves don't fit, we must acquit. In the meantime, O.J. Simpson had on other gloves before he put on the gloves that were worn during the MURDER of the two. I don't know how the gloves were supposed to fit when you have gloves that were probably holding the other gloves from fitting. Like, I know I wear winter gloves. I wear gloves because it's cold out. But the latex gloves that you put on, and then you try to put on a regular glove, and it's going to cause problems. It's one, it makes your hand wider. So I would have loved to have seen him try to put on the gloves without the other gloves under his hand. Also, now the gloves that were worn during the MURDER were soaking wet with BLOOD, right? Because there was a massive amount of it right there in the courtyard of Nicole's place with their kids upstairs. OJ's kids too, upstairs, two little ones. I really feel like that's how he got off on this charge, because of those gloves. And there's a million reasons why those gloves might not have fit perfectly. Maybe they didn't fit perfectly at the time either. Maybe they didn't fit perfectly because they were shrunk by the fluid that was stuck to them inside, which was BLOOD. After all these years, I still believe OJ did that. And there's a lot of people that believe OJ did that. But just remember, back in the day, there was no TikTok, there was no YouTube, there was 4 maybe major channels, maybe 5 with Fox, because Fox was on at the time. 5 major channels and cable TV. We weren't policing things ourselves. Our opinions didn't matter. We didn't have a platform to speak them on. We would go, instead of having say-sos online, we went with protest signs. They still do that today. They had protest signs, but there was a race riot in 1992. There was a riot in California, and there were spurts of it that happened throughout the United States. Rodney King. Does anybody here remember Rodney King? Which caused this whole riot in California where people were pulled out of their trucks and people were beat to death all over. If you went through the wrong town, wrong city that time, it wasn't safe. And it would have been bad form, I believe, if OJ Simpson was found guilty. I think that the country was afraid that if they would have taken an African American, a football player, a guy that won the Heisman Trophy, right? I mean, he was an amazing football player, running back, had the most rushes. He had the most rushes until 2013. He had that title for a really, really long time. And then he was an actor, but we could not convict him, regardless of anything. And I really think it was because of the color of his skin and because of those damn gloves that weren't meant to fit him at that time. Not with gloves that he had underneath, and not with liquid that was caked onto those gloves, making those gloves not as movable as they would have been any other time. Yet I guess for the sake of the country, for the sake of races in the country and how we all got along, he was found not guilty. Years later, OJ Simpson was caught stealing what he claimed his memorabilia, stuff back that he claimed was stolen from him in a Las Vegas hotel. He was given 33 years. That judge wasn't playing around. That judge already felt like he got away with a lot of stuff. And once OJ got away with the MURDERS, he had this like Teflon type attitude that nobody could touch OJ Simpson. Nobody could touch him until he ended up in Las Vegas. And he ended up doing 9 years minimum without parole for stealing. So he did his time in Vegas, came out, moved to Florida, kept a really low profile. And now we sit in 2024, almost exactly 30 years after. Because it was in June of 1994 that the unaliving took place. There's no closure for the Goldman family. No closure for the Brown family, really. OJ never did time for what they think he's guilty of. I think he's guilty of it, too. I think more than half of this country think he's guilty of it. But that trial set the precedence for what's going on today. And with social media and reality TV. People didn't know at the time that you can make money off of stuff like that. Until people started tuning in with their popcorn, watching the trial, the OJ Simpson trial. Trial of the century. Trial of the century. I remember that. I remember watching some of it in Hungary. I went to Hungary that summer. And no lie, they were showing the trial over in Hungary as well. So, guys, does anybody remember? I'm sure, because I have older viewers like me, about the OJ Simpson trial. Do you think that if that was not shown on TV, that we'd be where we're at today with true crime? Because I think that that was a thing that opened up the door and said, let's make this entertainment because we can make a shitload of money off of it. Regardless of anything else. We can watch this horrific stuff. It doesn't cost us anything. All we have to do is put cameras in the courtroom. And from there became all of these crime television shows. The fascination of O.J. Simpson and that crime. Guys, 30 years on, what do you think about it? Tell me in the comments. I'd love to know. Do you remember the crime? Do you think it opened up the door for true crime today? Tell me what you think, guys. This is Issues with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip. Please like, subscribe, and share. I really appreciate it, guys. All right. Be better today than you were yesterday. Not half as good as you're going to be tomorrow. And also, what do you think? Do you think that OJ's kids, the kids of Nicole as well, will finally open up their mouth and say what they think? Did they think that their dad did that to their mom and they just couldn't say anything? Will they say something now? Let me know what you think, guys. All right, thanks.